a big part of what you really think about with interviewing is the job-related skills, right? You look at a job description or a job posting, it has all this list that you have to do Microsoft Office, or you have to do this type of program, or be familiar with these types of things. Or they can be on soft skills like leadership or skills around like sales, whatever it might be. These are the job-related skills that are very specific to the job that you're interviewing for. And it's not so much about fit, that's a big part of it. Fit is all-encompassing, but it's really about, can you do this specific job? I might be the greatest candidate in the world, and maybe I'm being hired for a programming job, but if I've never programmed in that language before, I'm not going to be successful. I mean, there's certain minimum requirements, no matter how terrific or wonderful you are. So that's the job skills or the job-related specific skills. And one thing you might see, not so much in screening interviews by human resources, but maybe by qualifying interviews and more people within that particular job function or role, like the manager or the hiring manager, is the use of jargon or career type vocabulary. And that's important because they'll use those words and that jargon to kind of test and see if you understand what they're talking about, and that it's really a check for understanding with them. Later you might get into more detail. You might even ask you to do a technical interview or do some things where you're going to demonstrate stuff to demonstrate your knowledge. But early on, they might just use jargon or something to see if you're really understanding. So for example, let's say if you're an accountant and somebody says, hey, how did you guys handle the Sarbanes-Oxley legislation that came through? Now, most of you watching this video are probably thinking, what is he talking about, Sarbanes-Oxley? But if you're an accountant, in particular an accountant in the United States, because it is a law related to the United States, you know exactly what I'm talking about. In fact, many of them are probably yelling at the screen right now saying, Sarbanes-Oxley, I hated that. We had to redo all sorts of things. That's the jargon and the career stuff that shows, hey, I'm with you. I'm one of you. I totally understand what you're looking for, and I can really tell stories and show how I can really be successful in those types of things. Think about your own career, where you want to go in your career, and think about how you've used those different types of jargon, and sprinkle those in. Not so much with a human resource manager who might not understand it, but feel free with somebody who you can see, who's a peer or a hiring manager who'd like, oh, I get you and you get me, and we kind of understand this industry or understand this jargon a little bit, so you can kind of work together on that. It really is a part early on that proves that you can do the job, whether it's understanding the vocabulary or the jargon or being actually able to demonstrate things. The job-related skills are all about, yes, I can do the core nuts and bolts of the job. Now let me tell you about all my transferable skills. Now let me tell you about all the other ways I fit with the organization that go above and beyond that. Because the reality is, there's lots of people who can do the job-related skills. It's a very competitive marketplace. It's a global marketplace for hiring folks. And so you're going to want to stand out beyond this, but you need to be able to communicate and do the job-related skills, and really communicate that perfectly, because that's one of the barriers to entry for anything. You got to be able to do the job in order to get hired. So number one is, you can do those job skills. Then beyond that, you build onto those transferable skills. You build into, I can do the job. Now let's talk about how I can fit in the organization. And now let's talk about even more all the benefits and everything I can do to help the organization grow and help you grow.